Imagine finding an island so remote, so untouched, that it feels like paradise the moment you set foot on it. No enemies, no predators, endless resources, a perfect place to build a new life. That's exactly what one group of settlers believed when they arrived on a tiny island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. But what they didn't know was that this paradise would eventually trap them completely, with nowhere left to run. And by the time they realized what was happening, it was already too late.
The island is called Rapa Nui. You probably know it as Easter Island. When the first settlers arrived over 1,000 years ago, they found a lush, forested paradise thousands of miles from anywhere else on Earth. Tall palm trees covered the land, fresh water ran freely. There was more than enough to build homes, canoes, and a thriving community. It seemed like the perfect place to start over, isolated, safe, self-sufficient. Here's the thing though, that isolation, the very thing that made it feel safe, was about to become a trap no one saw coming.
For generations, the population grew. Villages spread across the island. Culture flourished. And then something extraordinary happened. They began carving massive stone statues, some standing over 30 feet tall. These weren't just monuments. They were a symbol of status, spiritual power, and competition between clans. But moving these enormous statues across the island required something the island had in abundance: wood. Thousands and thousands of trees. What nobody realized was that every tree cut down was a page torn out of their own survival manual.
The forests that once covered Rapa Nui didn't just provide wood for statues, they held the entire ecosystem together. Tree roots kept the soil from washing away. Palm trunks were used to build ocean-worthy canoes for fishing and, if needed, escape. But as more and more trees fell, the soil began to erode. Crops failed more often. Fishing became harder without strong boats. And here's the strange part. Historians believe the more resources ran low, the harder people worked to build even more statues, hoping to appease the gods for help. The truth is, they were solving a spiritual problem with a solution that was making their real problem worse.
By the time the last significant trees were gone, something had shifted on the island, and not just the landscape. Without large trees, there was no wood left to build ships capable of open ocean travel. Rapa Nui, once a paradise reached by capable seafarers, had become a place its own people could never leave. No way to sail to another island, no way to call for help, no way out. This is where it gets interesting, because their prison wasn't built by an enemy, a storm, or a natural disaster. It was built by their own hands, one tree at a time.
As resources grew scarce, life on the island changed in ways that must have felt unimaginable just a generation earlier. Fresh water became harder to find. Soil that once grew abundant crops turned dry and thin. Competition between clans intensified. The same statues once built to honor gods became symbols of rivalry and tension. Oral histories passed down for generations speak of conflict breaking out between different groups on the island. And unlike before, there was no forest left to disappear into, no boat to escape on, just the same shrinking island, shared by people running out of options.
When European explorers finally reached Rapa Nui in 1722, they described something haunting. A landscape almost completely stripped of trees, enormous stone statues standing over a population far smaller than the island once supported. The islanders they met were resourceful and resilient, but living in a world dramatically diminished from what their ancestors had built centuries earlier. For a long time, historians debated what exactly caused the population to decline so sharply before European contact. But there's something deeper researchers eventually uncovered. This wasn't a single disaster. It was the slow, quiet result of an island that had simply run out of what it needed to sustain everyone.
Modern researchers now describe what happened on Rapa Nui using a term that applies far beyond one small Pacific island: ecological collapse. It's the point where a population depends so completely on a resource that once it's gone, there's no way to recover in time. And the unsettling part is how familiar the pattern feels. A resource seems endless until suddenly it isn't. Warning signs appear gradually, easy to explain away, easy to ignore, right up until the moment they can't be ignored anymore. Rapa Nui's isolation, once its greatest strength, became the very thing that sealed its fate. Because when the resources ran out, there was truly nowhere else to go.
That's the strange, haunting lesson hidden inside Rapa Nui's history. Paradise wasn't destroyed by an invading army, a natural catastrophe, or bad luck. It was reshaped, slowly and quietly, by the everyday choices of people who never imagined they were writing their own island's final chapter. Today, those enormous stone statues still stand facing the horizon, silent witnesses to a civilization that built something magnificent and, without meaning to, sealed themselves inside it. And perhaps that's the most unsettling truth of all. The line between paradise and prison isn't drawn by the world around us. It's drawn, quietly, by what we choose to take from it.